Daddy's football has returned, or I guess I should say is returning tonight, right after you listen to this podcast. I can't wait. I know that our commish can't wait. It's just us two. Daddies, it is your podfathers on here, your OG podfathers, your commish and the ass, me, Mr. Blake Clatterbrook, your ass, and Mr. Commish here.
Like what I love to think about is that no longer do other daddies have to listen to educational podcasts anymore. They don't have to learn something not related to football. They can listen to, I mean, I guess if they want to listen to other podcasts, they can, but they just have to listen to this. This is the entertainment that they're looking for, they're needing. And we're back, daddies. Nothing better than being back with you all.
I listened to some other podcasts, a couple others, a little bit of fantasy, but I haven't, a lot of educational stuff, some history, a lot of science-based stuff. I'm done with that BS. I'm done learning. If I'm not learning about the league, I don't want it. I don't want it in my feed right now. I think that speaks to the level of this league. And what a great draft day, right?
It was a great draft day. Nothing better than hanging out with some daddies.
A smooth draft
smooth.
day. I feel like we
Smooth.
didn't have a whole lot of hitches. Like went pretty well.
For the people that didn't hear that conversation of like we went into the golf clubhouse and like people remembered not just us, but they remembered Glenn.
But they remembered our league. That was funny. I think the clubhouse, whoever's working the clubhouse came up to Taylor and started asking about like, oh, what's the punishment this year or something like that, and super fun. So
we're gonna have to get those guys some merch at some point.
At some point we absolutely should. But I want to speak real quick just about draft day, and I think I have one last draft tonight. Seb, I don't know how many more you have, but we're coming down to the wire, and everybody's drafts are kind of wrapping up. But I had a friend reach out, and a handful of you, he's an AU grad, Logan Hauer. I even shared this link with him. He might listen to this podcast. Who knows? But this is his first season doing fantasy football. And he reached out. He knows that we do this league and take it pretty seriously. And he's like, hey, can you just give me some quick tips? And I was like, absolutely. And I was giving him just like the rundown of like how to draft and stuff like that. And then I was like, do you want the ultimate cheat sheet? And he's like, please. So I actually just sent him the picture of our draft board. And I said, honestly, with the exception of a few players, and we know who those are, just go down this line. If you draft somewhere in this order, you're going to be in good shape. So we'll see how his team, but we have to cheer on Logan Hauer this year because our league is in one way, shape, or form influencing a newbie to fantasy football.
And isn't that a goal of it? I think I love what we have here, but we're called to spread the good word. And in this essence, our good word is what we do here on Draft Daddies. And so, if people are being more like us, I feel like the world will be a better place. Thinking about this year, Blake, I definitely have some hot takes going in. I don't know if you watched college football this last week, but there was definitely some hot games, some upsets there. So I got some hot takes. If you're ready, what are we saying here? There are two early, two hot takes. Too early.
Two hot takes.
Yeah,
two
not
guys.
One.
There's two hot.
Two guys. Two cups. Sorry, that's the wrong thing.
Yeah, wrong one. But yes, you give us our first of two hot takes. Hot takes.
Yeah, too early. Two hot takes. Who knows when they'll actually be on time? I don't know. I guess the end of the season because we're looking at playoffs. And I'm not looking.
Are we talking about playoffs already?
Playoffs. Yeah, we're not. I'm not looking at who's making it. We could talk about that, and I think we're going to talk about that maybe later. But we are talking about who's not making the playoff, and my too early. Actually, I guess it's one too early, two hot takes. Is that none of the former champions are going to make the playoffs this year? None of them. I guess this is year 5, so we got 4 champions or 4 championships, 3 champions. Hot take is we're having a new champion this year. No former champion is even making the playoff.
That is a hot take, hot for the podcast on this hot mic because I'm on a 2-year drought personally. That might be a secondary hot take. Second hot, too early hot take. I don't know. I
Um,
don't know. I can respect your hot take. I don't agree with it. Let me bring you down who I think is make the playoffs this year. I think Chris is back. I think this is the BB year, the Boylan's back year. Man's getting married. He's got to make a run for it. I think then I saying I'm making it in Asheville amphetamines. We got our prescription refill. We're feeling good this year. I think that Taylor, this is truly a hot take. I think you're gonna nip your way in there just by the hair of your chinny chin chin. And then I think Aaron, he's been consistent. I think he's gonna show up here. Then Seb, I'm not gonna be a total asshole like you were to me. I think you're making the playoffs this year as well, along with who we thought who set some records. Great, he's been consistent, but last year made a real run for it. The Chicago Dogs, and then maybe the hottest. He's no longer the comeback story, but he is my scramble, even though we didn't win, partner. I think the Dayton Doodles, and not just name alone, but the name helps. But I think Thomas, our newest daddy, is gonna get to the playoffs this year. I think he got a good feel for it last year, and now he knows what it takes to be successful in the DDFFL. Anyway, they're kind of hot. I'll call those lukewarm takes.
yeah, lukewarm. Yeah.
Lukewarm takes, but nonetheless, it's a week one. I know everybody's ready, and I feel I've gotten the feeling, not just in our league, but across all of fantasy football. No one really is. There are no clear cut like winners or losers thus far this season. There's a lot of question marks. It feels like it's gonna. I feel like this year more than any other year we've done this league. Uh, I don't know if anybody feels really confident in their teams right now, or if anybody feels like really bad about their team right now. Maybe if you drafted poorly, but with a good draft, I feel like anybody has a good chance. And week one is always kind of telling. Will give you a good feeling or a bad feeling. It's the same weighting as there's 12 other weeks left in the regular season for us to play after this week, because week one, at the end of the day, kind of will set the mood for you. Will set the mood for the rest of the season. So big week one. Should we get into our first round 2025 predictions?
Oh, we should. We should. Yes, we got the Sea Dogs and G Train Rats.
And we are
Which
gonna
one are
call
they?
we're gonna call it names here too, just for the record. We're gonna give them out, and we have a few name changes, but our first matchup here, first two matchups actually, no name changes.
Yeah, I could see a name change for maybe one of these teams later on in the season. Wild card, keep things spicy. But I would imagine the Chicago Dogs are here to stay with Brandon Wagner, and
Mhm.
again the G Chain Rats with Glenn Shin. Surprised he hasn't leaned into the New York side of things, the Bronx side of things. You got lots of opportunities there, but we went with the Rats for some reason.
I actually don't, except for the draft. I don't know if he's logged into ESPN yet. So
Yeah,
still
probably
hasn't
not.
actually even updated the app, but we'll see. All right, what do you see here, Kamish?
Yeah, looking through things pretty quick. I want to say that Chicago Dogs is going to take this pretty easily. They're predicted over 7 points to win. Um, Looking at last year's rankings, every one of the skilled players outside of the rookies are in the top seven. Outside of their kicker two in the starting lineup. You have. Uh, I think like the question going into this game is how healthy is HN. There's been a lot of questions within that Miami Dolphins facility. Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be taken over by Ollie Gordon? We just don't know those things. Can Travion Henderson be, the it factor? That's been the talk in New England too. Those are, I think, like the big questions. You know what some of these other guys are going to do over there. Travis Hunter, is he going to play more defense than he is, wide receiver? We're not giving out any defensive points in this league, so a couple big questions there, like you said, Blake. But I think overall they're going to be steady. May not have huge weeks, but they're going to have pretty solid weeks. It depends on the health there. When you look at the G Chain Rats, you see some maybe not so many like big name guys or guys that used to be big name guys. Josh Jacobs, if you go back 2 years, Puka when he broke out, Garrett Wilson when he's had a decent quarterback, and TJ Hawkinson without a lot of last year. Jerry Judy hasn't really been effective in Cleveland yet. So I just think there's some names that maybe are trying to hold on. They're going to be okay. They might find the end zone a little bit, but I just don't think they have established roles quite yet. I'm going Chicago Dogs, Evie.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm gonna agree right with you. I think that the biggest question mark that could sway this would be is Bonnie Chan. Is he healthy? Is he ready to go? Uh I don't know what it is about Miami, but they just seem to struggle with just injuries across the board between them and him and Tua. But if he stays healthy, I not even looking past this year, but like if he's healthy this week and gets, we see him getting the majority of carries, then I say that this one easily goes to the dogs as well. Yeah, easy dogs win. I think if Achan isn't playing, I say it's a little bit closer, but still, I would still give it to the dogs regardless.
Yeah, yep, that's fair. I feel like it's pretty straightforward there.
Yep. Our next one, two other daddies here, no name changes, and honestly, I don't know if the name changes would need to happen or need to take place here. We've got the Bald Bison, perfect name, and the Tarkington Crawdaddies. There's so much legacy. I feel like at this point in the Crawdaddies, they can't change. They can't change. So, hey, looking at this one, Josh Allen found a new home with the Tarkington Crawdaddies, and this is a big week. Unfortunately for Peyton, he's facing up against his hometown QB, Joey Burrow, and that's the game for Ohio, right? So Peyton's gonna have a little bit of conflict there, I think, going into it. But Josh Allen is, Peyton's 100% pulling for Josh Allen this year. He might be, I don't know, Peyton might even be against the Buffalo gear by the end of the year. And more New York, yeah, more New York fandom from the Tarkington Crawdaddies with Brees Hall. Jets, different team, but still against James Cook. I when it comes to the both of these, I think Tony Pollard is probably underrated for the Bald Bison. I'm going to say I think Tony Pollard is not. Let's see, they're projecting him. ESPN's projecting him at 11.4 points. I think that he's actually going to be more of a mid tier running back this year. That's one of my hot takes for an individual
Yep, and
player.
that's a tough defense too. So I
Yep,
completely agree with that take.
yep. And but DeAndre Swift, I'm curious to see how much the Bears utilize the run game here. Justin Jefferson, he if he is healthy and good to go, and it looks like Peyton also. I'm not sure about either of these injuries with Malik Neighbors and Justin Jefferson, but Peyton is really leaning kind of at everything New York and Chicago for the first half. He's got a lot of New York players, just New York State players. Now that I'm looking at it, he's got the Bills D. He's got Tyrone Tracy, the Giants. He's got Malik Neighbors with the Giants. He's got Brees Hall with the Jets, and then Josh Allen with Buffalo. He's really New York heavy. So I don't know. I thought that was supposed to be Glenn, but when I look across this, I think I'm going to lean toward the Bald Bison in this. Mainly, well, you know what? No, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to walk that last piece back. I'm going to go Tarkin Crawdaddies on this, mainly because we have not seen Joey Burrow come out and play well in an early season game really ever, maybe. It seems like it always takes him 2 to 3 weeks to get going. And I also think that there's been a bit of a shakeup up there in Minnesota. Justin Jefferson, it's going to be great, but is he going to be as effective early on? I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think that Brees Hall and DeAndre Swift bring the majority of points to the Tarkin Crawdaddies this week, and Josh Allen's going to just show up for just enough, and I think the Crawdaddies, sneak by.
Yeah, that's great. Great overall takes. A lot of good potential on both of these teams. A lot of boom, I think, on both of these teams. And I find it interesting that the Crawdaddies are, this week they're projected the only team projected under 100 points, which I don't really think is fair considering the talent that I really do think is on this team. A lot of talk about Rome playing well this coming year with that revamped offense in Chicago. A lot of this matchup really could come down to Monday night. I think the Crawdaddies go into it with a little bit of a lead, but I think Justin Jefferson. Again, I know Chicago defense is a little bit better, but I do think Justin Jefferson goes into Monday night and I think they lean on JJ leans on him pretty heavy, JJ to JJ, and they come behind win for the Ball Bison.
All right. Hey, we have our first new names of the season. I already called on one of these guys, the Dayton Doodles. And this gentleman was also missing from the draft, but Jack switched it up. He's going Lutz deep. If you
Yeah,
can figure
real
that one
quick,
out.
I do need to express some anger towards Jack.
Sure.
Jack, I thought maybe you had something going on draft weekend. But I heard from, another daddy talking that the reason you did not show up was because you had just been down there maybe the week or 2 before.
Hmm.
I thought this league meant something to you. I thought you'd
Well,
you'd make the drive. I could have even driven you halfway down,
yeah. He.
but you just went
So
down there the week or 2 before.
does that mean you're going Dayton Doodles on this one? I guess we'll see.
We will see. Yes, getting into that matchup. Again, and it's hard not to love the Dayton Doodles name.
It's the I think it's the logo, the picture.
Yeah, it's done
Like
really well. You
it's a
you see
nice
it,
alliteration and an adorable little pup. Yeah.
super smiley, and then, Let's Deep's over there just, you know Let's Deep, they're running a bump and run, which really isn't like the deep play. Anyways, looking at quarterback matchup, you got Kyler Murray and you got, Trevor Lawrence. A lot of I don't know, like, I feel like every year both these quarterbacks are like, "Oh, they could be this year that they finally do something." I don't think either one of them have a great year. We'll see. Wash it. You got Derrick Henry, Amarion Hampton. Is Amarion Hampton really gonna get the carries that's expected? What are they playing in Germany this week, Blake? Do you
Yeah,
know?
yep. Yeah, I think it's in Germany, right?
Yeah. And there's talks with, Najee being back, taking splitting carries in some sort of way. I just think it's gonna take probably a couple of weeks for Amarion Hampton to get up the pace to maybe take that lead role as the 1A in that backfield. BTJ is gonna be TJ, is gonna be great. JMO got potential to kinda pop off this year in that offense. And so many good encouraging things that you've seen from George Pickens, that he being the wide receiver 2 in that offense, the potential for him to kinda pop out a little bit, but this week may be a little bit difficult. On the other side, what you got? Yeah, you got CD that's gonna take a lot of the attention. Is he gonna get receptions, or is he gonna lean things towards Pickens? Chase Brown, Nick Chubb, meh. Tyreek Hill, I don't even think he wants to be in Miami anymore. I saw
Yeah.
this is the first year he was not voted as a captain in the 4 years that he's been in Miami.
I say,
So,
didn't he
kinda
say
tells you,
he wants out, right?
I mean, yeah, he'll probably end up getting caught speeding again at some point or something. His his child care or child support would probably be too much if he moved out of state.
Mm.
Evan Ingram, I do think is gonna have a good role in that, Broncos offense. I think he'll play well. I don't think DJ Moore is gonna be the guy this year. I think Rome's gonna take that over, for Chicago. So, yeah, I talked myself into going Dayton Noodles. Um, I just think there's questions obviously on every team, but I think there's a little bit more consistency. I think you'll see some more touchdowns scored from the Noodles this week.
Yep. I agree. It's not just the logo, and it's not just because we're coming at Jack, but right now Jack's team feels a little lackluster to me. I don't love it. I don't love where they're sitting. Nick Chubb being that second. I do agree that it's gonna take a little bit. It's gonna take some time for him to get online, but Derrick Henry is gonna be good for some points, and I think that if anything is gonna save Jack at all this week, it would be maybe Chase Brown getting some more goal line looks. If Cleveland is gonna pull a Cleveland, and there might be some opportunity there. But outside of it, I'm going Dayton Doodles.
Yeah, love it. And no, I think Thomas is really looking forward to a good year. I think he's struggled a little bit more than he's wanted to, and so if he can start off hot, I think that could be encouraging.
Yeah.
Speaking of someone else kind of hoping to start off on a good note, or two teams starting off on a good note, hoping to. Um, what are your thoughts on this next matchup here?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm staying with the Asheville amphetamines. We upgraded our brand. We got a new brand, same color scheme, but a little bit different. Got our Adderall flying right into the back of the throat. You know how we
Mm,
love things going right to the back of the throat here in this league. Against the Naptown Knockouts, I think he pulled that out on draft day. That's Taylor. Jalen Hurts, he took him early and he felt real good about it. I know that's where a lot of his points he's hoping are going to come from. But it's really the question is, does that team hold up with their offensive line? Are they going to stay consistent? Does the tush push continue to tush push it out, or does it tush push him into the loss column? I don't know. When it comes to the running backs, I think that Christian McCaffrey is still in the undervalued category. Well, I guess it depends where you're at, but in the past week or so, uh, Christian McCaffrey's he's moved up a bit in ADP, and I've seen him go up in rankings a bit. I feel really good having him, but I do know that my running back core is lackluster. That's because in my draft, I focus a little bit more on the wide receiver side early on. I want to compare that to when I look at Drake London and JSN to DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman. That would be concerning to me if I had DK and Michael Pittman. Like, I'm not scared against that when I'm looking up head on head. Looks like Stefan's going to be good to go. So hoping that we can see him be somewhat productive there in New England. And yeah, I don't think there anything else you want to call out there. I'm going myself. I don't know if that needs to be said, but I'm going with the amphetamines here.
Hey, I love the confidence starting early on. I think the real question is, are you going to get Taylor off of 2 hours sleep? Taylor, is that team he's bringing to town, or is it, Taylor who wants to quit after week 1? I don't know if I could deal with a whole
After
season of
actually,
that.
I think he wanted to quit before with Richie Rice with that whole situation.
Yeah, not the happiest there, but at least you know when he's going to be back, so you can kind of plan for that.
Yeah.
I think that is expected, like you mentioned with his receiving duo. The big thing I'm curious about is DK Metcalf going to be productive with Aaron Rodgers? Garrett Wilson was not last year, and so can he do enough, especially week 1 versus the Jets, against Sauce Gardner there to be productive, to have a year that, the physical specimen that DK Metcalf is. We will see. And then the other rookie on that side with Emeka Ibuka, I think he's got potential to pop off, and I think there's a lot of mouths to feed in Tampa Bay. So can he be enough while Chris Godwin's out? He could have a week. He could also have a week of nothing, like we saw with JSN, his first year in the league. So we'll see here. I do think this is a super, super close matchup. Um, yeah, I think this is a close matchup this week. I don't like the defenses that the Naptown Knockouts are playing. As in, like, I think they're a little bit easier defenses, and I think they're able to score a little bit more points that weekend. So I'm gonna lean that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I did to piss you off before this podcast, but all right.
I love you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Our next matchup, we have Victorville Villains, and I have to say, what he's able to do with the puns of his name between Crispy Bacon and this one is maybe one of my more favorite names, Rice Crispy. I'm curious if he's got to change up. He's got to change up the little guy, his little emblem. But if we get a good little Rice Crispy in there or something, that's going to be so good, so good. Yeah. What do you think about this one?
it would have worked out a little bit better, but you got a worthy Rice Krispie, I guess,
Yeah.
because he's starting Xavier Worthy, expecting him to put up the numbers in place of Rasheed Rice, especially to start off the year, and a lot of talks that it's going to happen this year. So hopefully, good things there. Um, Outside of that, I think there's some questions for Rice Krispie. We don't know what RJ Harvey's going to look like. He doesn't have the big popular name outside of being in the Denver office this year. Brock Bowers looks like the guy, and you would imagine that his production can only go up with Geno Smith there, improving that quarterback play. Brock Purdy, I think, is set for a good year. Jamar Gibbs was officially listed today as the RB1 in Detroit, which is the first time in his career. So, big congrats to him. I'm sure he needs that, boost of excitement. And then can T. Higgins, can he produce at a wide receiver 1 level as a wide receiver 2? That's probably my biggest question there is T. Higgins worth a grab there? He's going to continue to produce for that Cincinnati offense. On the other side, Lamar Jackson and Buffalo, like, that's a tough matchup week 1. You're going to see that a couple times throughout the year. That's probably one of the tougher matchups for Lamar. They might lean a little bit of a different way in order to, not or keep Lamar fresh for the entire year. You got AJ Brown there, Jalen Waddle, who hasn't played much early on, George Kittle, Khalil Shakir, who always pops off. There's no stack here or anything. I don't know. Feel like I don't have a lot to say because I don't know if I really love it. So we're just gonna go ahead and go with a Rice Krispie.
Yep. I'm going to go
Snap,
with right.
crackle, and pop.
Snap, crackle, and pop off a win here. I think I've got Rice Crispy doing pretty well in this game as well. His flex position, Jerome Ford and his flex, I feel like, is a pretty strong flex. Arguably, RJ Harvey could sit there too, but either way, he's got a pretty. I'm sure he's hoping a solid running back core this year that can kind of lead him through the majority of the season. But I think some serious potential here, especially with, like you mentioned, with Rashee Rice. Xavier Worthy is gonna be a little bit of a shining star, and Vic, I think, is just. I think there is going to be too much having to hope for Lamar to have a good game for victories alone, and against Buffalo at Buffalo, that's a hard way to start the season. So I'm going with the Rice Krispie.
Rice Krispie. Can't never go wrong with a little Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah,
Um, Looking at the next matchup too, and I'll let you. I want to hear your thoughts on this eventually, but you're looking at a guy who relies heavily on the quarterback position and maybe stretched a little bit. Not saying it was a bad pick, but stretched a little bit when he didn't get his guy with Team Keegs taking Jaden Daniels. Which again, Team Keegs, I respect the OG name, but can you just switch away from the vampire guy? Do we really love him that much? I mean, what does
I
he
love
even
him.
mean to you?
I love him. I think he's got to stay. But that Keegs is a man of the night. You know,
I don't. I don't even think you can pick the vampire guy anymore. I think he's like an outdated
he's
emblem.
Dunzo. He's Dunzo. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
But hey, if you want
Um,
to conk me, laddie, I
Conk me,
like it.
laddie.
I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, my first thought looking at these two teams, obviously I had Jaden Daniels last year who did really well for me, and Keeg had Lad McConkey. So there's a switch of teams here. We'll see how that works out. I think there's potential for both of those guys to continue to play well. Looking through teams for Keegs, David Montgomery, question mark, J.K. Dobbins, question mark, Zay Flowers, question mark.
Mhm.
I mean, Jane Daniels and Jamar Chase are really going to have to carry you, I think, a bit here. Devontae, like these other guys can have some decent games. Not saying that they won't, but I just don't think it happens this week. Of course, why would it happen against me? But Jane Daniels can go for 40 and Jamar Chase can go for 40. So, like all realistic aspect, and the nature of Keegs teams over the last couple of years, and it's worked out for him. So, what the heck do I know?
Yeah,
Looking at my side of things, though, yeah, I think that consistency is the big thing here. Obviously, I'm hoping for a couple of young guys to really prove themselves this year. You got Saquon kind of leading the horse with Aaron Jones Sr. I think that's probably like my weakest spot on my team, finding that second running back. I'm sure I'll make a trade for a running back at some point and screw some team over, but we'll wait down later down the line for that. Ladd's going to continue to step up. Cortland is really that wide receiver one in that offense, and I really think, like I told you earlier, Blake Bo Nix, I think is going to play well this year. I think Cortland Sutton is a big reason why. Trey McBride hopefully catches more than 2 touchdowns all year. Um, he looked like a stud receiver all year. And then my big pick all year has been Ricky Pearsall. I have him in every one of my fantasy leagues. He's going to go absolutely nutty for San Francisco. Brock Purdy is going to rely on CMC and Ricky Pearsall. Jawan Jennings is in contract negotiations. The injuries that happen in San Francisco. So really think Ricky's going to have a strong year, and Jake May is going to also play really well. So I think he's an underdog that is going to put up points both with his legs and through the air. I think I win this by 20 points.
20 points. That is a hot take. I do think that
Hot
you are
take.
gonna roll away with this one. I think Keeg's team this week is probably, and it's like you said, you called it out perfectly. I think that between Jamar Chase and Jane Daniels, he's got the opportunity to win every week. But there are so many empty holes right now that, and we could be proven wrong. We have been proven wrong in the past, so it's hard to say with any kind of conviction. But at the same time, I just don't see how he's with the lineup that you have. Saquon, kind of feels like, even though you've been kind of ripping on me, feels like with me having and Saquon, and then, or not Saquon, with me and Stefan, you Drake May, and we've got ourselves a little commissioner ass commissioner stack kind of going on. Like, we could really be a benefit to one another here, and I just don't really see you benefiting in that, or leaning into that, and you just kind of keep shitting on it. But that being said, I like you more than you like me, apparently. What we love doing, the one, the only, our week one, our first of 2025. It's time for our matchup of the week.
The week.
we've got Sir Coxlot. He's sticking with his name, loving it, loving it. Donald Duck going deep on this one. And we
Mm.
got Lights, Kamara, Ashton.
I
All
probably
right.
would have messed that up if you had me say it. So I'm
Honestly,
glad that you
I'm
said it.
shocked. He loves throwing those tongue twisters in. I think this is going to be a really fun start to our matchups of the week. And yeah, we've got a good lineup here. I think it's going to be a really tight game. Let's start it out with those QBs, Jay Herb and Patty Mahomes. Another one. You look a couple years back, and you're saying, "Oh, these could be some real big points," but got them going up against each other in this week, and I think that's going to make for a really fun game for these two to watch and just watch these two just shell it out back and forth. Does Patrick Mahomes have the ability to? Is he going to be the point scorer that we saw 2 years ago, or is he going to do what he did last year and just, you know, get you your consistent 15 to 20 points, or is he going to be, popping up there? Justin Herbert, I think the edge definitely goes to Patrick Mahomes in this, but Herbert's proven time and time again that he can be a very high value quarterback. Uh, you'll see him in a lot of those streaming positions, and I like it in the rest of the context of his team, but this week in the quarterback position, it's hard to not give it to Patrick Mahomes, especially. Dude, I'm on the all T Swift train and no Patrick Mahomes train. But still got to give the edge to Aaron in this one.
Yeah, it's a Friday night primetime game, so definitely something to make sure you're watching. I just want to um, make sure that you saw. Well, so I agree with you. I think because Justin Herbert has not proven himself to be a quarterback that's going to put up a bunch of points in a Jim Harbaugh offense. But I
Fair,
did
fair.
want to read to you a couple of the Jim Harbaugh quotes about Justin Herbert, just because I think they're something. If you don't love Justin Herbert, then something is wrong with you. He's the toughest quarterback in the history of the National Football League. He is a beast. Did Justin Herbert to the Hall of Fame. And then I believe that he called, let me see if I can find the exact quote. He called Justin Herbert the opposite of a house plant. I mean, he is field corn. Just like field corn, it doesn't need to be talked to in a certain way. It doesn't need the conditions to be perfect. Sunlight, shade, water content, soil content. Field corn will burrow down for any energy that can find, and it will rise up and start producing. I mean, that's Justin Herbert.
Okay.
So
I can't say I disagree. I like Mr. Justin Herbert. I think he's always a solid take, but uh let's move on past these QBs and look at some RBs.
good call. Yeah, this is arguably the highlight of this matchup. You got Jonathan Taylor and Bucky Irving with Ashton Genty and Alvin Kamara. Could be really, really good things. You kind of look at Alvin Kamara and you question, is he washed up? Is he on an offense that's going to produce enough points? But you don't have that really from any of the other three. But you do have Ashton Genty, who's probably came into the league with higher running back expectations than anyone I can really think of. I know Saquon was highly regarded up there, but um, I saw something today that said that he is making the most guaranteed money out of any running back besides one. So he's like the second most guaranteed money on a rookie contract, which I just thought was kind of crazy of how much they do value him. So expect him to be worked in pretty heavily. He's probably the number one target on the offense, maybe outside of Brock Bowers, so he should get some receiving work too. But I just think Jonathan Taylor and Bucky Irving's too much. Um, I apologize because I don't know Indy's coach right now, but he came out today and said that Jonathan Taylor is the way, or is this offense. We will go how Jonathan Taylor goes. And so expect him to be fed early, often, especially against a Miami defense that's not going to be great. Bucky gonna Bucky. He
Shane
finished the
Steichen.
year incredible. Shane Steichen, there you go. I think Jonathan Taylor and Bucky Irving are the better duo this week. Maybe not every week, but definitely this week. So I got to lean there.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at the wide receivers, we've got Mike Evans. Yeah, like you said, I do feel like the running back is the highlight of this matchup, the running back matchups. Uh, we've got Mike Evans and Calvin Ridley matched up against Nico Collins and Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that the Calvin Ridley with Cam Ward, this being his first game, where's the focus going to be this year? I think how is Tennessee going to perform? That's going to be real. I mean, Calvin Ridley's going to be target, the go-to guy here, but would be nervous with this going into week one. And Mike Evans, right now he's going to still get the majority of Godwin out. He's still going to be that number one receiver, and he's going to show up, but he might get you a touchdown and a few yards. Is he going to have that blow up game? I don't necessarily think so. That being said, Nico Collins and Marvin Harrison Jr. Nico Collins can take an CJ Stroud can find him down the field, then he's going to be his go-to guy. The question is he able to in this week one matchup against the Rams?
Yep. I just don't like the matchups. I really like Mike Evans and I really like Calvin Ridley. I just don't like the matchups for them this week. I think Nico's going to go off, and I think Marvin Harrison is going to do pretty well this week too. So that's where I'm leaning. I'm sure that's. I think, were you going Evans or Ridley, or are you watching it?
Oh, I'm going slight wash, but I think I'd give the slight edge to the. I was actually going the opposite. I'd give a slight edge to the Nico Collins Marvin Harrison Jr. matchup.
Okay, yeah. So we're both on the same spot there.
Yeah. But honestly, it could go either way. Like you said, I think running backs is still where it falls.
Agreed. Tight ends, you're looking at Blake. I mean, maybe the only Bears jersey I'll ever buy in my life. Not that I have one, but I would. Colson Loveland, incredible tight end in the University of Michigan. I think he's going to be awesome in Chicago. I think that he's built for that offense. He's just a dude that you love. If you haven't seen the video of him singing during rookie camp, you got to watch that. Did an awesome job. And then Jake Ferguson, who kind of gets forgotten against in Dallas. I think
but man
Philly's
got paid.
defense.
Man got paid.
He did get paid. He did get paid
as he deserves.
And I think most weeks, Jake Ferguson's going to be a great option because of how much the Cowboys are going to have to throw. I just don't think it's going to be this week because of the Philly defense. So give me some Colson Loveland.
I love that take. I do love me some Jake Ferguson though, but I agree with what you're saying. I think that Colson Loveland is going to be. I think that we could see his weekly projection and him just shoot up even further in the ADP for tight ends, because if Caleb Williams is going to be as standout as everybody's making him out to be, he's going to need targets. He's going to need as many as he can find. He's got a Dunze, he's got DJ Moore, but if he can find himself a really good one, like the same way he utilized Cole Kmet last year, then I think that this is a great take at the tight end position. So I'm going with that one as well, if that wasn't clear enough. Yeah, I like Loveland.
Good. And I'm curious if you like, Kenneth Walker too, because you had him on your team last year. I feel like you tend to like the kind of the same guys year after year, which I feel like we all do. In a matchup against San Francisco, he seems to be the guy again. Or Seattle has a top tier offensive line. It's just, is he going to get the full RB1 duties, or is Zach Charbonnet going to push his way to get some, additional carries? Is it a split backfield, or is it one way or the other? On the other side, you got Matthew Golden, who I feel like a lot of people, if you're not big into college football, might go, who? I mean, look, he's set up to be the wide receiver one in Green Bay. Matthew Golden, you might have no idea if you didn't watch a lot of college football last year, but after a really productive time in college, comes here and he's predicted to be Green Bay's wide receiver one. I think there's kind of talks, especially the talent that he does have. Maybe he doesn't step into that role week one. But I do see a lot of points potentially going up in Detroit. Green Bay is going to try to contend early. I got to go Matthew Golden here. I just think there's going to be too many opportunities for him. Kenneth Walker, I think, is going to go. It's going to be close, but I'm going Matthew Golden if you're going to push me.
Yeah, as an NFC North fan, I especially not in week one, I'm not going to choose anything Green Bay over anyone else. I will Lions all day over Green Bay, but some good NFC North matchups to start out this season, and so I'm going KW3 in this one. I think that he is going to get the touches, and he's going to show up at least in week one. If he stays healthy throughout the season, who knows? But week one, I think we'll get him in just enough points to squeak on by for Sir Cox a lot. And I guess we'll just touch on defense and kicker. Not really a lot to call out here. I feel like we've got the Cardinals taking on the Texans for Sir Cox a lot. Texans have the Rams, and the Cardinals have New Orleans. I think these will be pretty average scoring. I think we see 5 to 10 points for both of these, along with and the kicker position. They're both. I mean, we'll probably see a few. If anything, I think that Aaron squeaks by out of the two of these. If you combine them points wise, I think Harrison Butker gets one long kick to somehow help KC squeak by.
Yeah, just a difference in playing styles for fantasy managers here, with Aaron liking to stream defenses and getting the Cardinals going against the New Orleans offense, who is still starting Spencer Rattler, who is horrid.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Sir Coxlog just likes to take a solid defense, a solid D, which is the Texans this week. Again, there's some questions with Matthew Stafford maybe not being full health after not playing at all preseason.
I heard he's good.
But he is.
He's good. No,
Yeah.
he's playing,
Questions.
but I see what you're saying.
Questions.
I got you.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I heard someone say they were like, yeah, but he's what is he, like 35 or something? They were like, he's a 35-year-old starting quarterback. How old is he? 33. Yeah. I heard somebody say, they were like, he's a 33-year-old starting quarterback in the NFL. Of course he has back pain. Like, that's a fair point. And plus his back is probably probably hurting from carrying Detroit for all those years. But nonetheless, yeah, what do you like in this whole matchup? Who you taking here, sir?
It'd be nice to review things kind of as a whole. But we mentioned it early. He relied on it last year with Kirby, just relying on his running backs. I think there's a lot of that in week 1 with Jonathan Taylor and Bucky Irving just doing too much, scoring too many points. And then Colson Loveland, Justin Herbert kind of pitching in a little bit here and there. I think there's just too much firepower going week 1, so got to go Sir Cox a lot.
I agree with you. I know that you love going Cox. I know you love Cox. I love Cox. We both love Cox. It's just hard to get away from it, and I'm going Cox in this one too. From the cornbread fed, actual corn plant himself, Justin Herbert, all the way down to Cameron Dicker, the kicker. I think that Sir Cox-Lat's got this one.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the names that steer you a little bit more. And so,
why do you think I went with Rice Krispie? Hey, that's week 1, man.
That's week 1. We're going to be surprised when we come back to talk about things next week.
Yeah, you know what? I think that my last hot take is that we are all over the place, and I think that I'm curious to see how week 1 shakes out and how everybody's feeling after this weekend. I'm excited to see the chats. I'm excited to see people just blowing it all up, and welcome back, boys.
Welcome back, daddies.
Oh, Aaron's actually calling me real quick. Hang on. Oh, yep. He wanted me to let you guys know. Mwah, he loves ya. He loves ya. All right, daddies. I think that's all we got for you this week. We'll see you next week on the Draft Daddy Podcast. These are your podfathers, your ass and your commish. Peace out, daddies.
Peace, not just Aaron. We love you too.